They are popular because they are genuinely terrifying, and they're terrifying because they evoke the ragged quality of real-life experiences of the inexplicable. They give us a horrible glimpse of a hidden netherworld, but seldom the full view. The feeling they produce stays with us, even if we can never quite work out what it is we have seen. Few people today realise that for M.R. James, ghost story writing was only a sideline. He was a serious academic who served at various points in his life as Provost of Eton College, Vice-Chancellor of Cambridge University, and Director of Cambridge's Fitzwilliam Museum. He edited scholarly editions of medieval chronicles which are still in use today, such as De Nugis Curialium, a colourful account of Henry II's court by the waspish Welsh diplomat Walter Map. So the Byland Abbey ghost stories combined two of his great interests. They were an intriguing oddity which James had snuffled out from England's medieval archives, but they were also unsettling accounts of the paranormal, which, once read, were hard to forget. What was more, they appeared to be true. The stories, he wrote in the English Historical Review in 1922, are strong in local colour, and, though occasionally confused, incoherent, and unduly compressed, evidently represent the words of the narrators with some approach to fidelity. Royal 15A20, which today is kept in the British Library, is a smallish bundle of 160 leaves of parchment, roughly 17 centimetres by 12 centimetres, held together in a modern binding. It is not, for the most part, a book of ghost stories at all. Rather, it is an elegantly copied compendium of texts by authors, including the 1st century BC Roman orator Cicero and several Christian theologians, including the popular high medieval writer Honorius of Autun. Most of the text was copied out in the 12th century, but the Cistercian monks who did the copying left some blank pages. And it was on those empty leaves, in a much later generation, that the 15th century ghost stories were written. The monk who penned them, we do not know his name, was a scrawler. He scratched out his letters in a cramped and crabby hand, using tortuously contracted and rather idiosyncratic late medieval Latin. Very refreshing, wrote James dryly. What his purpose was in collecting 12 near-contemporary ghost stories, alongside noble works by Cicero and Honorius, is uncertain. It may be that the book was used in Byland Abbey as a teaching resource, from which new monks were taught about Christian doctrine. Having a good ghoulish anecdote on hand, amid the dustier stuff of rhetoric and theology, might have been thought helpful for teachers who needed to grab their students' attention. Most of the stories have an explicitly Christian flavour, with lost souls helped to pass through the afterlife after atoning for some earthly sin. So they have a didactic purpose, besides being merely entertaining. That said, it could be that the author was simply a collector of odd things, who wrote on the nearest surface to hand, like a busy modern-day parent making the weekly shopping list on the back of an electricity bill. What is clear, though, is that the stories are closer to reportage than polished homilies. They are folk tales, circulated by the ordinary people who lived around Byland Abbey in the late 14th and early 15th centuries. They mention local landmarks and settlements, Ampleforth, Gilling, Hodgebeck, York. The author names people who experienced terrors with the undead, or sometimes, as we shall see, redacts names for fear of embarrassing their families. He assumes a certain degree of local knowledge about landscape and society. Most of the stories are short, often just a few lines long. Without exception, they're weird. But one of them, the Snowball story, which is the second recorded and the longest by far, is a late medieval humdinger. That is why I have adapted it for you here. I came across the Byland Abbey ghost stories just before Halloween in 2020. I was looking for a scary tale from the Middle Ages with which to try and impress my children, and had a dim memory of once reading, in some northern chronicle or other, the story of a revenant. Having not much